Keith and I got back together for this project about 4 years ago, and then we found Nick on Craigslist when our guitarist quit. He's been here for about 3 years, and we're still sorting out the fourth member situation.
Yeah, we have a friend playing with us tonight. I'm motivated by my friends mostly. It's just what's around me. I get to put a little bit of myself into it, I guess. But the thing is, I'm really receptive to how the people around me are feeling, and I'll use that to build the songs, at least lyrically. And musically, I'll just play guitar, play piano until something comes along. I write songs really slow, so it's definitely a process where I've got to kind of like become a sponge for a little while, like figure out what's going on in my life, figure out what's going on in the lives of people around me, and then I wake up one day and a song pops in my head. I wrote because like I said, I write about my friends, and I had a friend who was in a band he was not happy to be in. They were doing a lot of touring, and he just kind of hated the music a lot, and it was like a lot of self-loathing going on, and it made me sad because he's one of my closest friends, and he loves playing music, but for some reason he was deciding at that point to just kind of like play shitty stuff and hating himself. So I kind of wrote that song as a reaction to that.
My family is musically inclined. I'd say big music appreciators. My father played guitar all his life, and then I have an aunt that is a music teacher, so she knew how to play every instrument in the orchestra to be able to do that. But the big thing is that in the household, musicians were my life lessons were kind of through quotes from musicians that I can think of a bunch that my dad would say don't do that, and he'd throw in something from Bob Dylan or John Lennon. It's very much my upbringing.
My parents were never really big. I mean, they're not musicians, and music wasn't really a big part of our household. It was just kind of like something I started doing when I was 15 to rebel, I guess. But early on in my life, my grandparents, they're from the Dominican Republic, and my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my grandfather was a recording artist in the Dominican Republic, and he was a great singing voice. It's beautiful. It's really something I only started to kind of learn about recently. So
I just learned about that now.
Yeah. So that's kind of my background. Yeah, I guess that must have had an influence on me because it popped up again.
My story is very similar to Nick's, even down to the aunt is a music teacher. Music is a huge part of my childhood. Whenever we would drive somewhere, we'd be listening to the Beatles or Led Zeppelin. Whenever we'd be sitting around the house, there'd be music playing. All of the records that I have right now, with the exception of new ones that I bought, are my parents' records that I stole from them. And my aunt was the same thing, high school music teacher, band instructor. Started teaching me recorder when I was 10. I hated that. Started teaching me piano when I was 12. And then I really picked it up seriously when I was 15. That's when I started playing drums.
Neil Young, hands down for me.
Alright, I guess I'll go. I don't want this to sound cliche, but I'd have to say Radiohead, just because I saw a show of theirs in 2006 that totally changed my perception of how I wanted to approach being a musician. So I feel like it would kind of round all that off.
I was shaking in my boots and waiting for Radiohead. I'm not doing it.
I got one.
You're refusing a Radiohead show?
Yeah. The band I'd want to play with is Nirvana, because I think now watching their live shows, really enjoy kind of the DVDs that have come out recently, and as a kid, it was my first band that I was in love with, so I think it'd be cool to play with them.